Greetings, Jay.
Jimmy.
How are you today?
Jimmy Ford, Jay Galen, Ford Drum Company.
Hi, how are you?
We thought we've been waiting a long time.
Long time to be doing this.
Yeah.
We've been dragging our feet.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. And we just finally decided, you know what, let's do this. It's time.
So what we thought we'd do today is talk about something that's been driving us nuts for a long time.
Cool.
Dispelling some myths about drum shells. Okay?
Yeah.
We get phone calls.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah, we do.
Can you take this ply and that ply and mix this and mix that and mix this and mix, because I think it'll sound like
a cocktail?
Yeah, a cocktail.
A cocktail.
Yeah. And then, guys trying, well, do you pitch match your shells,
Lie.
So, yeah, I mean, so let's dispel some myths, okay? We got some toms here. Show you a few. Here's another one here. This is acrylic.
Acrylic. Vistalite.
Right? Vistalite. They're all 12-inch toms, right? And we want you to hear them. They're all tuned about the same.
Yep.
Because we want you to see that a 12-inch tom sounds like a 12-inch tom.
True.
It doesn't matter if it's solid organic or 10-ply from our Maverick series. We've got a Yamaha maple here. We've got an acrylic drum here. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
They all sound like 12-inch
They all sound like 12-inch toms.
It's geometry, guys. It's not the woods of the shell. Now, does the wood make a difference? It might, a little bit.
Density.
Wood density might make a difference. If it's more porous and a softer wood, it's going to be a little rounder and fatter.
Right.
But you could change that.
Sure.
By
Drum
putting
heads.
different heads on, different tunings,
Yeah.
and the way you play, different sticks.
That's right.
That can make a difference too.
That's right. And just remember, the resonant side of the drum head, the bottom drum head, is the money head.
Yeah, that's that's where your pitch is coming from, right?
Right.
So, and then how you finish the inside of the drum and the bearing edges and the quality of the components that are on the instrument make a big difference in terms of whether or not this drum is going to sustain for you, and not in terms of a note, but last over a tour or a lifetime kind of thing.
Years of service.
Right.
Yeah.
So that makes a big difference.
Right.
But in terms of the sound of the drum, a 12-inch tom is going to sound like a 12-inch tom.
That's right.
And a 14 and a 16 is going to sound like a 14 and a 16.
That's right.
Typically, right?
That's right.
Depths of drums, does that make a difference? Well, you're going to hear an 8x12 and a 9x12, and it still sounds like a 12-inch drum, and I don't think your ear can hear the difference.
That's how you tune it.
We guys want to think they can hear the difference, maybe. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
But we're going to demonstrate for you. You can hear for yourself, and then you be the judge.
That's right.
And then pitch matching shells. You want to talk about that real quick?
Well, pitch matching shells. Well, once you start drilling holes through a shell, and then you put massive hardware on a shell, it's going to change the pitch of the shell. So why are we obligated to tune the drum or tension the drum to the note of the shell? You're not playing the drum shell. It's not a marimba. You're playing the drum heads.
Yeah, that's a great point. If I had a Les Paul body and I'm tapping it, or a Strat body, or a jazz guitar body, and I tap it, and I had to tune every string to that note, that sounded like a rotten guitar to me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? You're playing the drum head, not the drum.
Right.
Shell.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. And I tell guys that think of your drum heads as speakers and your drum shells as speaker cabinets.
They're sound chambers. So if tapping the shell made a difference, truly, and I'm drilling holes in it, the smaller the drum, the greater the mass that's on that drum, right? Which means if there's more mass on a smaller drum, that drum shell really can't resonate at all.
No.
Because you're hindering that process.
That's right.
As the drum gets bigger, that means the bigger the drum, the more it would resonate, and then the whole pitch matching thing wouldn't make sense anyway.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
That goes out the window.
Yeah.
So
it's a novel idea.
it sounds good in theory, but the truth of the matter is the sound is happening from this drum head to that drum head. The sound wave is bouncing inside the instrument. The sound wave can't get through the plies and the glue and the plies and the glue. No
No.
one ever talks about the glue.
No, nobody talks
Ding.
about the glue.
Oh, what does that glue sound like, Jimmy?
I don't know.
And this drum is solid. One piece steam band, 3/8 of an inch thick.
Yeah.
So, but let's
Less
hear them.
glue.
Less glue.
All right, less glue. All right, so a solid walnut 9x12 tom.
Sitting in a snare stand.
Sitting in a snare stand.
With booty shakers.
And with booty shaker
Shake your booty.
yeah,
Shake your booty.
isolators, which makes the sound of the drum resonate and doesn't choke off the drum. And I'd like to say a shout out to the good people over at Booty Shakers. Thanks so much. So here we go. I'm going to put this 9x12 walnut tom-tom in a snare basket with booty shakers, and this is what it sounds like. Now, there is a 2-ply clear head Aquarian on the top, and there's a single ply clear head on the bottom.
All right. Here is our Maverick series. This is 10-ply. You want to show what the inside of that one looks like?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And actually keep it there because we want to A-B them.
Right.
All right. So,
Put that there back in the basket. There we go.
and if we're truly advertising, hopefully you can see
Okay.
our badge there.
All right, so here's the Maverick series, 10-ply maple, no rings.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Sounds like a 12-inch drum.
Loud, punchy,
Focused.
walnut drum. Maverick drum, 10-ply maple.
So if they're off a little bit, the relative pitch, I mean, they may not be tuned exactly the same. The
Yeah.
relative pitch is pretty much there. But you can tell it's pretty darn close. A 12-inch drum sounds like a 12-inch drum.
It certainly does.
Let's do this.
Yes.
Take that drum out of there for a
Yes.
second. Let's pop this one in.
All right.
We'll use this to A-B against these other ones,
All right.
just for kicks and giggles.
There you go.
Let's do this. I'm a marketing guy. We always have to show the...
Show the badge.
Show the badge.
Show the brand.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. An acrylic drum. I'm going to pitch match an acrylic set.
Wait, hold that shell up. I want to tap it.
That was... Oh, doesn't have any sound. Sounds like plastic. Interesting. All right, let's hear what this 12-inch drum sounds like. And that one?
A little lower in pitch, but similar in that range.
It's in the range. Sounds like a
It's in the
12-inch
range.
drum.
Yeah, sounds like a 12-inch
If I
drum.
tune this up a little bit and we can get it closer in pitch to that, still sounds like a 12-inch drum.
Yeah.
And this one's an inch shorter. Can you really tell the difference? She can.
Oh!
Okay. Yamaha. This is
Tour Custom.
Tour Custom.
All maple shell.
Yeah, all maple shell. And we'll talk about the finishes in a little bit too, and how that affects everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Does it?
This is right. This is an all maple shell. It's got a little something on here. Let's clean that off. And this is actually now made in Indonesia,
Yes.
but it's a slightly thinner maple shell than the Maverick series here.
Right.
But you know, hey, let's
Let's
see what it
tap.
sounds like.
Yeah, let's tap this one and go for it. Okay. Oh my. Hey, wait a minute. Let's do this.
Sounds like a 12-inch drum. Amazing. Freaks me out.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
So how we got this idea, we were at the NAMM show,
Right.
and we're at the Sonar booth.
Sonar.
You know, Sonar makes some really lovely products.
Had a bunch of toms lined up, right?
12-inch toms, all lined up. They had acrylic, they had mixed woods, they had everything from all their lines, their import stuff, their custom stuff from Germany, all lined up, 12-inch toms. And they're all tuned like this, relatively close.
Right.
And sure enough, you hit every single drum, they all sound like 12-inch
They all sound like 12-inch toms.
Freaky.
Except one.
No, it still sounds like a 12-inch drum.
Yeah, but
You gotta be honest.
yeah, it sounded like a 12-inch tom, but this,
However,
yeah,
there was a however.
there was this one tom that really kind
It
of
stood out, and why did it
stood out
stand
from
out?
the crowd. Yeah, well, because it was a thicker shell.
Yeah, it was the one with the thickest shell.
Yeah.
Truly, it was the one with the, and
Yeah.
every one we brought there, and we brought, a dozen guys over, and we said, okay,
Turn around. Yeah. Right.
And they all said, well, they all sound good. They all sound about the same,
However,
so can you tell which one's acrylic
Yeah.
and which one's mixed woods?
Exactly.
No, they all sound the same.
Right,
But there's one, and it was the one with the thickest shell.
Right.
Because it gives you the most projection, the most focus. In reality, it's going to give you the most tuning range.
Right. That's right.
If it has the right edge.
That's right. And again, I tell guys, think of your drum heads as speakers and your drum shells as speaker cabinets.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you had a thin speaker cabinet, and you've got those bass speakers pounding in there, the
Like a
cabinet
15-inch woofer or something.
it's going to rattle
Yeah.
and distort, and that's not good for your sound.
Yeah.
So the thicker, the more rigid the shell, the more projection you're going to get. The greater a bearing edge you can cut because you have more material to work with.
Right.
We happen to cut a graduated edge, a different edge for every single drum because the collar changes.
On the drum head.
Gets bigger as the drum gets
Yeah.
bigger. Right?
Yeah.
So-
The bass drum, like say for instance, a 22-inch bass drum, you don't want to cut a sharp 40-degree bearing edge angle on that
Yeah.
because it'll sound like paper.
Yeah, thin, papery. You know?
It just get a thwack thwack instead of a nice boomy attack with a nice roundness to it.
Yeah, it's another question we get a lot is like, what edge do you guys cut? Do you cut a 45? Do you cut a 30? The drum doesn't know the difference, okay? What the drum knows is what's touching the head.
Right.
It's the bead.
The bead, the top crown. Of
Yeah, the crown. So if that's proper and it's the right
angle.
Yeah. And is rounded over properly for the size of the head, you're going to get maximum tuning range, more punch and projection.
Right. You have an inner cut and then you have an outer cut. And so those two factors are really important. What's really important is making sure that that top bead is true all the way around, because if it isn't, then you're going to wind up with a lot of tuning problems and you won't be able to tune the drum.
So let's talk finish for a minute, because a lot of guys think that a finish that's on a drum affects the sound. For a long time, there's a drum company out there saying they'll never put a plastic wrap on their drum because it chokes a drum. Okay. But what's a polyurethane finish on a drum, Jimmy?
Liquid plastic.
And then it dries and it becomes part
Hard.
of the plastic.
Yes.
What's the difference, right? The sound wave inside can't get through the plies and the glue and the plies and the glue. No one's talking about the glue, like we said. But
I think they call it aliphatic glue.
okay, say that 10 times fast.
Aliphatic.
Yeah,
Aliphatic.
but still, the sound wave can't get through all that. It can't.
No.
So what's happening in the sound of a drum is inside the instrument. So it doesn't go to the outside. So if you hear it, well, we put nitrocellulose on the outside of a drum, and you would say, well, if the sound can't get to the outside of the drum, why does that matter? Well, it's musical instrument lacquer. Well, then why not put it on the inside of the drum, where it matters?
Seal the wood, finish the wood so it still breathes, but it makes the drum on the inside, where all the energy is happening, more reflective, so it adds to projection.
Do you know anyone who does that, who puts nitro on the inside of a drum?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, makes it reflective,
Yeah.
seals the wood, lets the wood breathe, and allows the drum to project.
Yeah.
But on the outside, it doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't make a difference. You're not choking it.
That's right.
It's not like you're holding it against your body or putting a blanket around it. It doesn't work that way, because when you're applying a finish to a drum, it becomes one with the drum shell itself anyway. So it's just part of the sound chamber.
Yeah, and it's all aesthetics, like Jay said.
So mixed woods.
Yes, mixed woods.
We kind of poo-pooed that. You just heard that an acrylic drum sounds like a 12-inch tom, and these are different types of maple and a solid walnut. They all sound like 12-inch drums. Mixed woods and drum shells, it doesn't make any difference at all. The reason why mixed woods are a big deal, all walnut there. The reason why mixed woods are a big deal is because drum companies need to sell drums. They need to come up with new marketing ideas in order for you to think that it's going to sound like something, and therefore you'll buy that drum. Same thing with depths of drums. You remember when power toms were all the rage and everyone went out and bought power toms, and then they fell out of fashion? Well, the depth of a drum, drums, an 8x12 and a 9x12, there's geometry. Again, there's math that seems to work.
Right.
If a drum gets too short and the air travels too quickly, it can sound kind of toy-like,
Sound real high pitched, like bright, because the sound waves, it takes a shorter distance for the energy to travel from the top head to the bottom head. So it takes on that high pitched, real short, dry kind of sound.
So bass drums. Lately, everyone's talking about shorter bass drums, 14 by 22 or 14 by 24.
I grew up playing shorter bass drums.
Yeah. Well, and then they got longer over time. So it's like hemlines in the fashion industry. They go up and they go down, not because you need a shorter hemline or a longer one.
Is my seam straight?
Yeah, no, it's very nice.
Okay, thank you.
It's good.
All right, okay.
But because they want to sell dresses.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, I heard this artist talking on a video for the drum company that he endorses, and listen to these, the sound travels faster. Again, could you hear the difference between this 8x12 and that 9x12? You really can't. I mean, your ear just can't. It's impossible. I mean,
I wonder if we could put fish in that and put a pump on the outside. And
well, you could.
you
It'd
think
be kinda
so?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
See, that gives you another use for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the depth of a drum, they go up and they go down because they need to sell drums. And,
Right.
and if I'm in the drum business, I make a lot of money selling bass drums. They're
Right.
expensive to make,
Yeah.
So I'd rather sell you more bass drums.
Yeah. Or some of the cool finishes too. Guys, which the drumming community is predominantly male species here, but I say hooray for females that are playing drums. God bless them. It's great. But guys like shiny things like cars. You see a metallic finish on a car. You go, ooh, wow, that's nice. I like that. So you kind of get attracted by that. So eye candy.
Yeah, it's seductive.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hear with your eyes, you really want to hear with your ears.
That's right.
And if you were blindfolded and you were at that sonar booth like we were,
Yeah.
you couldn't tell the difference.
That's
A 12-inch drum sounded like a 12-inch drum.
Yep.
So
Mixed woods?
mixed woods, because we don't think there's any difference, we actually said, let's make a drum with mixed woods.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
So this snare drum is a 5.5 by 14, 8 lug. It's in a cobalt blue fade high gloss lacquer. Actually, it's polyurethane because lacquer is a generic term.
Right.
What I decided to do, I said, hey Jay, how about we did this? This was an experiment. I said, let's take a birch, poplar, birch, poplar, birch, poplar, birch, poplar shell, and let's put an all maple shell within this configuration. So what I did is we got a birch, poplar, birch, poplar, birch, poplar, poplar, birch shell with a maple shell. We cut the maple shell, did the cuts, and we glued it, and on our hydraulic press, we sandwiched the two together, and this is what we got. And I'm going to play this for you. And let me know if you can tell the difference in what woods that we used. Okay, here we go. Now with the snares off.
It sounds like a snare drum. Isn't that freaky?
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like 5.5 by 14.
Yeah, and a pretty good snare drum at that.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter that it has poplar in or anything else. Now, poplar, gumwood, those were used back in the day because they were inexpensive.
Filler wood.
It's just filler wood.
Filler wood,
Didn't make the drum sound any better. Again, the sound wave is traveling on the inside and it's responding to whatever is in the inside, if anything.
Right.
Trick makes some lovely drums. We use Trick throw-offs on our snare drums. Trick makes drums out of aluminum. Their 9x12 sounds like a 9x12 too.
Yeah.
Because again, you're not playing the shell.
Playing the
You're
drum
playing
heads. Yeah.
So,
That's what it is.
so it all comes down to the end of the day, the components that are on it, the quality of the components, the bearing edge that's on it.
Yeah.
Is it going to last? We're in the business of making heirloom instruments. We want you to be able to hand these down to your kids, and they can hand it down to their kids and say, these are, amazing instruments that stood the test of time.
That's right.
Our lugs are all hand machined out of aircraft aluminum. They'll never rust. They'll never pit. So we want to create instruments that are super high quality. But regardless of the quality that's in the instrument, which is great if you're touring or in a scholastic application, kids are rough on things, whatever happens to be, that the stuff's going to last. But a 12-inch tom's still going to sound like a 12-inch tom.
That's right.
We'd like to tell you that there's some magic to it,
Right.
like we're tapping shells or this certain sealer on the inside.
The secret sauce.
The secret sauce.
Oh, the smell of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you what that stuff is. And 12-inch tom sounds like a 12-inch tom. You just heard.
And then again, you have to think about density of wood. Of course, maple is going to be a lot harder. Mahogany is going to be a lot softer. And of course, depending on the bearing edge, the way it's cut, that's also a determining factor in that whole equation. So drum head choice, tuning.
Yeah, sticks.
Sticks.
Density of your sticks, the weight of your sticks, that can change the sound
That's
of the
for
drum,
sure.
you know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know, a lot of times guys will pick a stick and not really pay attention to the weight, and they start, you know, playing their drums, whacking it. Well, it's got to be the drum. No, a lot of times it's the drumstick, because this too is a musical instrument. This is an extension of what you do.
So if you have any questions, FordDrums.com
FordDrums.com.
is our website. Jay at FordDrums.com, Jimmy at FordDrums.com,
And we're all-
info at FordDrums.com.
And we're also on
YouTube.
and Facebook.
Yeah. So you can reach us any number of ways. We love what we do. We can talk drums all day long. We started as a repair shop. We've worked on everything. We saw the shortcuts that everyone made, and we said, no, we're not going to do that. You know, let's just do it right.
Right. We're
we
passionate about it.
Yeah,
right?
we're really passionate about it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a drum kit that, you know, has some questionable things, components or whatever, we restore drums all the time.
Yes, we do.
Right? So that's part of our
Wraps,
business
satin
as
oil
well. It's
finishes.
probably about 30% of what we do is drum restoration. But we love this, and we love drums, and we love dispelling drum myths. You know? We'd like to, it'd be great to have a marketing myth so we could sell more and more drums. But
Right.
the idea is just to make a great instrument for you, or take the one that you have and make it better.
That's right.
Jimmy,
You
take us out.
You got to make sure that the instrument works for you. And here we go.
Here we go. Huh. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.